This weekend marks the 56th anniversary of the Selma Jubilee. This is commemorating what's known as Bloody Sunday, the march from Selma to Montgomery and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Civil rights leaders from across the country are expected to be in attendance, as well as President Biden. Here to talk to us about the importance of this weekend and the role the Biden administration is playing to honor the anniversary is Keisha Lance Bottoms, Senior Advisor of Public Engagement at the White House. Keisha, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the importance of this weekend and why the Biden administration has taken the time to honor the 56th anniversary of the Selma Jubilee.
Well, as you know, Bloody Sunday really was a turning point in the history of our country. It was such a cornerstone of the civil rights movement in America. Then 25-year-old John Lewis led 600 peaceful protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, walking into what they knew would be a traumatic and for many feared that it could be life-ending. It could be a life-ending moment for them. Many had already lost their lives in the fight for civil rights and voting rights in America. And those images went across this country, and it was a pivotal moment in our country's history because it made people pay attention in a way that many had not noticed before. And President Biden has said before, you will hear him say it again on Sunday in Selma, our history cannot be erased. Our history has shaped who we are as a country, and it will certainly help shape who we will be in the future. And so that's why the president thought it important to be there. He's been to Selma before. He's been across that bridge before. He went as a senator. He went as a vice president, and now he is going as president. And his presence is significant because it should be a reminder to all of us in this country that civil rights still matter, that voting rights still matter. And President Biden will be there honoring that legacy and the struggle that continues today.
And so we know that we can look forward to President Biden's speech on Sunday, but tell us a little bit about what else is planned for this weekend. For folks that aren't familiar with Selma Jubilee, it's a series of events. So what else is planned?
There are a series of events that will take place all weekend. Bishop Barber will be preaching that Sunday morning. The president's speech is just one part of this, in many ways, a celebratory weekend, but also an opportunity for us to reflect on our history and also an opportunity to remember the role that Selma played in the civil rights movement in America. And so it will be a weekend full of events organized by many community organizers on the ground, local organizers. But that was also the way that the Selma March came to be. It was not just people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and others who helped organize this, but at that time, Congressman John Lewis, as he used to like to call himself, the boy from Troy, 25-year-old from Alabama, joining other people in that march from Selma that was to end in Montgomery, Alabama, calling for voting rights in America. So there will be a weekend-long celebration honoring that legacy and really paying homage to so many who sacrificed so much for us.
So many that sacrifice so much. You know, there's a photo of Representative Lewis in my office that I absolutely cherish because of that sacrifice. Well, it's anniversaries like this that show us that so much has been done, but so much is still needed. What's being done not only to move our country forward, but to move the Black community forward? We're seeing book bans and the erasure of Black history in schools. Tell us a little bit about what's being done to address that.
Well, the president has used the power of his pen every opportunity he's had, from signing an executive order on policing in America to an executive order on voting rights in America to continuing to call on Congress to do more. This administration has given $6 billion and counting toward HBCUs in our country. The child tax credit helped cut poverty in half for children across America. and the list goes on. Just last week, there was an announcement made regarding home ownership and all of these issues that really impact communities of color, the African American community especially, the president has put at the forefront. And again, this is why his presence in Selma is so important. When you walk into, if you ever had a privilege of walking into the East Wing of the White House, hanging on the walls as you walk in are pictures of civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King Jr., Whitney Young, and other leaders meeting with then President Lyndon Johnson. And the president just doesn't say that our history matters, he honors our history. So we know that a lot of people, most people will never get the opportunity to walk in the White House, but to have a picture like that hanging on the walls as people enter really speaks to where the priorities are of this White House. And the priorities include honoring our history and making sure that this administration is doing everything possible to make sure that our future is even better.
Our thanks to Senior Advisor for Public Engagement, Keisha Lance Bottoms. Please come on back to Fox Soul's Black Report anytime.
Well, thank you, and I'll be happy to join you.